And welcome back to KTN Prime. Now tonight, after a year of eye-opening stories of Kenyans daring to live, work and invest outside the country and foreigners daring to live and work in Kenya, our special correspondent Alex Chamwada has put together for us the best of daring abroad. Take a look.
The Daring Abroad series began in April this year. The first episode was about Kenyan teachers in Botswana, with special attention on a former nurse who relocated to Gaborone in the 90s and made a career shift to entrepreneurship, not in her familiar medical sector, but in education.
Administration is part of registered nursing, and that is what I did in my training. So the only thing that I added was the methodology teaching. I started with the babies, went to the nursery, and then the preschools. That's what we call them here. And it eventually became a primary school. And our main aim is to raise godly children with a purpose.
Hence the name of the school. Still in Botswana, we spent time with one Willie Kathurima on his 22,000-acre ranch. He is now a citizen of Botswana, but he has never forgotten his roots back home in Kenya.
Don't forget that having been born in Kenya, I did not carry my entire relatives and families and friends to Botswana. But I do assist officially, as it's a procedure, my family and investments that are out there. And we've seen a cash flow into that nation that we love very much. Of course, I've had several visitations by various personalities from Kenya.
Are you here to stay? What's your vision? At one point, would you want to relocate to Kenya?
Botswana is my home. I can do what I intend to do in Kenya from here.
Kathurima's story is the second most watched on our online editions after the feature about Kenyans in Somaliland.
First of all, I went to the Ministry of Health, and since they say that they don't register herbals, but they encourage the herbals, I later went to the Ministry of Religion and Culture, and they gave us a business license to go on.
One of the biggest challenges, as I said, is that lack of recognition, but I'm sure as soon as we get our own independence, and as soon as the international community accepts Somaliland as a partner of the international community, I think one of our major obstacles to development, to investment, to the rest, would also have some problem. I think other challenges, I think we're still working on trying to establish a vibrant financial institutions.
In West Africa, our presence was felt too. First, the butter shoe shop lady in Accra, Caroline Ocheng.
Most of the stock here is Singapore, Malaysia, South Africa, and a little bit of Kenya on the ngomas and the pata. We ship out of South Africa because that's where we consolidate, but most of the stock now, we go for our buying meetings in Singapore 4 times a year.
Then hoteliers.
In the hotel we have 3 Kenyans at the moment. Before we only had 1, our F&B manager. Mr. Mudama is a Kenyan. Now we have our group chef, who is also Kenyan as well, Mr. Sikoe. Globally, chefs are very few, and they are very marketable.
Not to forget Nasra Ali, who roasts Kenyan coffee in Lagos.
So far, I've harvested about 25 bags of beans.
Meanwhile, Kenyans were surprised to find out that a Kenyan can actually own a piece of land in rural Rwanda. There were hilarious moments too.
The way they are playing their music inside the I say, the noise is too much in their public, in their this is it Tamatutu? Matatu. This Matatu truck.
In Europe, we brought you the story of Emma, a former house help, now a special needs teacher in Norway and happily married to a Norwegian. And here we sample your feedback. Gabu says he liked the feature where a Nigerian was referring to matatu as matutu. Daniel Nyaga remembers Kathurima, who owns a ranch in Botswana. Mamji says her favorite was that about the two young men at Harvard University. She says she is now inspired to undertake her master's studies abroad. Chief Harry Bayo also remembers the feature about Willie Kathurima, the beef cattle farmer in Botswana. Eric Muhovi remembers the Luya lady in Norway whose Norwegian husband ate, quote, teenage fish, or what is known as omena. Stephen Samo, on the other hand, remembers the feature about Caroline, who owns butter shoe shops in Accra. Thanks all for your feedback and keep watching Daring Abroad. For KTN News, I'm Alex Chamwada.